We refuse the Terran proposal. The council chamber on Xylar Prime was vast and humming with quiet anticipation. Sunlight from the twin suns streamed through the crystal-like walls, reflecting off the polished floors and creating patterns that danced like liquid light. Elira moved gracefully among the council members, her long robes swishing against the floor. Every movement she made carried the weight of confidence, intelligence, and the careful observation that had earned her a place as one of the most respected diplomats on the planet. Today was unlike any other. Delegates from several distant star systems had gathered on Xylar Prime before, but this was different. The Terrans, a human species known across several galaxies for their rapid expansion and unpredictable behavior, were here to present a proposal that could change the balance of power in the sector. Elira had prepared herself for this moment, but the nervous energy in the chamber made her pulse quicken anyway. The doors at the far end of the chamber slid open with a soft hiss. A team of Terran diplomats entered, their uniforms crisp and their posture confident, almost overly so. At the forefront was Commander Herrick, a human with a sharp gaze and a presence that demanded attention. His face was calm, almost unreadable, but Elira had seen enough of Terran behavior to know that calm could mask ambition, or worse, manipulation. The council members fell silent as Herrick stepped forward. He spoke in perfect Xylar, though with a subtle accent that reminded everyone he was from another world. "Honored council members of Xylar Prime," he began, "we come with a proposal for cooperation. Our species has much to offer each other, and we believe this alliance could bring prosperity to both our civilizations." Elira watched him carefully. She knew humans often spoke in broad promises, their words designed to impress but not necessarily to deliver. She noted the glint in Herrick's eyes, the slight tension in his shoulders. It was the stance of someone who expected compliance, not negotiation. The Terran proposal was clear. Xylar Prime would grant humans access to its advanced energy technology, allowing them to harness resources in ways previously impossible. In return, the Terrans would provide military technology and training, claiming it was to protect Xylar from external threats. On paper, it sounded reasonable. On Xylar, however, nothing was simple. Elira's mind raced. She had spent years studying the Terrans, observing their methods, and analyzing their history. They had a reputation for building partnerships. Yes, but more often than not, those partnerships ended with the other species losing control over their own resources and decision-making. This proposal, while polite, had the markings of subtle coercion. Counselor Tharan, an elder with scales that shimmered in the sunlight, spoke next. His voice was slow but deliberate. "We must consider the implications carefully. The Terrans are known to be persuasive." His use of the word was polite, but everyone knew what he meant. The last species that had been persuaded by Terrans had suffered quietly for decades before they realized the cost of their cooperation. Elira rose. "We cannot ignore history," she said, her voice steady. "Every record of Terran alliances shows a pattern. They offer assistance, technology, and protection, but in every case, the local species eventually loses control over its own systems. We must question not just the benefits, but the intentions." Murmurs filled the chamber. Some council members nodded, others frowned, torn between the allure of Terran technology and the warning signs Elira presented. The room was alive with tension, the kind that made even the air feel heavier. Kale, Elira's assistant, stood quietly beside her. He was younger but sharp, with a mind as quick as Elira's own. He had been analyzing Terran communications for days, looking for patterns or hints of their true intentions. "Counselor Elira," he whispered, "I've found something in their encrypted logs. They are tracking our energy output and monitoring council discussions through satellites we didn't know existed." Elira's eyes narrowed. This was confirmation of her suspicion. "So they are already watching us," she said softly, loud enough for Kale to hear but not the others. They are not here just to cooperate. They are here to observe and control. The chamber doors hissed open again, this time revealing additional Terran advisors carrying data devices that projected holographic displays. Herrick gestured toward them. "We understand your caution," he said, smiling faintly. "But our intentions are transparent. This technology can protect Xyler Prime from threats, internal and external, while allowing our two civilizations to grow together. Cooperation does not mean loss of sovereignty." Elira studied the holograms carefully. They displayed energy grids, military schematics, and simulated planetary defenses. The technology was impressive, certainly, but Elira's mind worked differently. She didn't just see the surface, she saw implications. The Terrans had shown a projection of Xyler's own systems, customized with minor tweaks that revealed they had inside knowledge. They had been observing far longer than they admitted. She rose again. "Your presentation is detailed, Commander Herrick, and your technology is impressive," she began, careful with her words. "But Xyler Prime is not a civilization that simply accepts guidance from others. We are advanced, independent, and capable of our own innovations. Your proposal assumes we need your help, when in truth, we have been studying energy systems and defense technologies that could surpass anything you offer, given time and resources." Herrick's smile didn't falter, but his eyes flickered briefly. That flicker told Elira what she already suspected. He did not expect a flat refusal, and it made him reconsider his approach. "Perhaps we can find common ground," he said carefully. "We wish only to assist." Elira shook her head. "Assistance that comes at the cost of sovereignty is not assistance. It is control, and Xyler Prime will not accept control disguised as cooperation." The room was silent for a moment. Some council members looked anxious, worried about the human response. Others, inspired by Elira's words, straightened in their seats, ready to stand with her. Elira could feel the energy in the room shifting. Xyler was a civilization proud of its independence, and that pride ran deeper than fear of an outside species. After the meeting, Elira retreated to her private chambers with Kale. They needed to prepare for the council's next session, where they would discuss the Terran proposal in detail and decide on a formal response. Kale brought data pads filled with Terran communications, trade agreements with other planets, and historical reports of Terran expansion. "This pattern," Kale said, scrolling through files, "it's consistent." Every planet that agreed to a Terran proposal eventually had to concede control over key resources. Cultural influence, energy systems, governance, they slowly eroded local independence. Only by resisting early could they avoid subjugation. Elira nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. "We will not let that happen here. Xyler Prime has the resources, the knowledge, and the unity to chart its own course, but we must be careful. The humans respect strength and intelligence, but they do not respond well to perceived weakness." Together, they began drafting a report for the Council, outlining the risks of Terran cooperation and highlighting Xyler's capabilities. They included simulations of potential Terran strategies and counter-strategies Xyler could employ to maintain control over its own systems. Every detail was meticulously calculated, because even a small mistake could tip the balance of the negotiation. Meanwhile, Commander Herrick and his team were not idle. They conducted private meetings with some council members, subtly suggesting that Xyler could benefit from Terran guidance. They presented case studies of planets that prospered after cooperation. Herrick's methods were patient, persuasive, and calculated, everything Elira had anticipated. But Xyler's response was not just about intelligence or technology, it was about unity. Citizens of Xyler Prime, aware of the human presence through public announcements, began to express support for their council and their sovereignty. Universities and research centers showcased new energy projects, Engineers displayed advanced defensive prototypes, and artists painted murals celebrating Xylar culture. The message was clear. Xylar was united, capable, and proud of its independence. Elira observed all of this with quiet satisfaction. Strength, she thought, was not just in weapons or technology, but in conviction and unity. She knew the Terrans would test them, push boundaries, and look for weaknesses. But Xylar was prepared to resist, not out of hostility, but out of the understanding that freedom was worth protecting. As the first day of negotiations drew to a close, Herrick left the council chamber with a polite nod. He did not look angry, but there was a tension in his stride, a subtle acknowledgement that Xylar Prime was not a planet to be easily influenced. Elira watched him go, knowing this was only the beginning of a long and careful dance between two civilizations with very different approaches to power and diplomacy. That night, Elira stood on the balcony of her chambers, looking out over the glowing cities of Xylar Prime. The twin suns dipped low, casting golden light across the towers and plazas. The people below moved with purpose and pride, unaware of the deep calculations and strategies taking place in the council chambers above. Elira turned to Kale, who had accompanied her. "Tomorrow the council will meet again. We will discuss our position, the evidence we have gathered, and our options. The Terrans are patient, but we have time. We must act wisely, but we must act boldly." Kale nodded, eyes bright with determination. "Xylar Prime is ready. And with you leading, Counselor, I believe no Terran proposal can shake us." Elira smiled faintly, feeling the weight of responsibility settle comfortably on her shoulders. The path ahead would not be easy. The Terrans were clever, ambitious, and persistent. But Xylar had something they could never fully measure: its unity, intelligence, and unwavering pride. The first day had ended, but the story of Xylar's resistance was only beginning. The next morning, the council chamber on Xylar Prime was quieter than usual. The twin suns had just begun their climb, bathing the crystalline city in soft golden light. Elira walked through the corridors with Kale, her mind racing with thoughts from the previous day. The Terrans were patient, cunning, and subtle. Every word they had spoken, every display of technology, had a purpose. Elira knew that any misstep could give them an advantage. Kale walked beside her, carrying a small data pad filled with Terran communications and reports. "I've decrypted more of their files," he said quietly. "They have been monitoring Xylar Prime for decades. Not just our energy systems, but our communications, our council records, even cultural broadcasts. They know more about us than we realize." Elira's eyes narrowed. "They underestimate one thing," she said. "Even if they know our history, our patterns, and our technology, they cannot measure our determination. They cannot see our unity, our creativity, or our willingness to protect our freedom." They reached the council chamber, where representatives from various Xylar factions had gathered. The chamber was filled with holographic displays of Xylar Prime's energy grids, defense systems, and city layouts. The council had requested a detailed briefing on the Terran proposal, and Elira was prepared. She stepped to the center of the chamber, her voice calm but commanding. "Council members," she began, "the Terran proposal is more than it appears. On the surface, it offers cooperation, technology, and protection. Beneath the surface, however, it seeks influence, control, and observation. We must consider the implications carefully before making any decision." Councillor Tharin, whose scales shimmered in the morning light, leaned forward. "Councillor Elira, you suggest that the Terrans' intentions are not entirely honest. Can you provide evidence?" Elira nodded and gestured to Kale, who activated the data pad. Holographic images of encrypted Terran transmissions appeared, showing maps, energy projections, and recordings of Xylar Council meetings. The files revealed subtle surveillance methods and suggestions for influencing council decisions. "These are not rumors or assumptions," Elira said. "These are documented observations. The Terrans are skilled at persuasion, but persuasion in their hands is a tool for control. If we accept their proposal without caution, we risk losing our autonomy. A murmur spread across the chamber. Some council members looked concerned while others appeared shocked. One elder, a being with translucent wings that shimmered like glass, whispered to a colleague, "They have been watching us all this time." "Yes," Elira replied, addressing the chamber. "We are a civilization rich in knowledge and resources. That is why they are here. They hope to guide us, but guidance in their terms often leads to dependency." Counselor Mivar, a robust figure with metallic limbs and a voice that rumbled like distant thunder, spoke next. "If what you say is true, Counselor, then refusal may anger the Terrans. They are powerful and persistent. Can we withstand their displeasure?" Elira's gaze was steady. "Xylar Prime is not powerless. Our defenses are strong, our technology is advanced, and our people are united. We are capable of defending ourselves without surrendering our independence. Strength does not come from yielding. It comes from preparation, knowledge, and resolve." Kale activated another display, showing Xylar energy grids capable of powering entire cities and orbital defense platforms that could deter any hostile approach. "We have innovations in progress," he said. "Our energy systems are unmatched in efficiency, and our defensive technology rivals anything the Terrans have offered. We are already strong. We need only confidence and coordination." The council listened, weighing the evidence. Some members were swayed by the displays, recognizing that Xylar had the capability to protect itself. Others remained cautious, still worried about the Terrans' reaction. Elira understood their concern. Humans were unpredictable, and their technology was formidable. A single mistake could have consequences. As the discussion continued, the Terran delegation waited outside the chamber, unaware of the analysis happening within. Herrick, the lead diplomat, was calm but focused. He trusted that his team's presentations would eventually convince Xylar Prime to agree. The humans believed that logic, technology, and strategic demonstrations were enough to win cooperation. They underestimated Xylar's resilience and pride. After several hours of debate, Elira suggested a course of action. "We must draft a response," she said. "Not a refusal born of fear, but a statement of independence. We will show the Terrans that Xylar Prime is capable of its own progress, yet willing to engage in fair trade and diplomacy. Our message must be firm, yet respectful. This is the moment to define our position." Counselor Tharin nodded. "And if the Terrans do not accept this approach," Elira's eyes met his, "then we must be ready to defend ourselves. Our civilization's strength lies not only in technology but in unity. If they seek to pressure us, they will find that Xylar does not bend easily." The council agreed to Elira's plan, and Kale immediately began preparing a detailed report, outlining potential strategies for negotiation, trade, and defense. They included simulations of Terran responses and contingency plans for every possible scenario. The work was meticulous but necessary. Xylar Prime would not be caught unprepared. As the day progressed, Elira met with engineers, scientists, and strategists across the city. She visited laboratories where teams worked on faster-than-light travel, energy optimization, and orbital defense platforms. Every innovation was a reminder that Xylar did not need the Terrans to reach its potential. Every breakthrough strengthened the resolve of those who would defend the planet's independence. Meanwhile, Terran observers monitored the activity from orbit. Herrick noted the visible coordination and preparation across Xylar Prime. "They are organized," he said to his aide. "More than I expected. If we push too hard, we may provoke resistance. We must adapt our approach." Back on the planet, Elira and Kale convened with a small group of trusted advisors to review the Terran files and council discussions. "The humans respect intelligence and capability," Elira said. "They also respond to unity. If they perceive division or hesitation, they will exploit it. But if we present strength, clarity, and purpose, they will understand that Xylar cannot be coerced. Kale nodded. Our simulations show that even if the Terrans attempt subtle pressure, economic threats, or strategic demonstrations, they will not gain compliance. Xylar's systems can absorb minor disruptions without losing functionality. Our message must be firm and unwavering. As evening approached, the council chamber filled once again for the formal meeting with Terran representatives. Elira entered first, followed by council members and advisors. The Terrans awaited with calm expressions, their posture confident, though Herrick's eyes betrayed a hint of curiosity mixed with caution. Elira addressed the chamber and the Terrans. Commander Herrick, representatives of the Terran species, we have reviewed your proposal carefully. We appreciate your willingness to share technology and knowledge. However, Xylar Prime is a civilization that values its independence above all. Cooperation is welcome, but not at the cost of autonomy. Herrick's expression remained polite, but a flicker of concern passed across his face. Counselor Elira, may I remind you that cooperation can bring advantages to both our civilizations. We are not here to dominate, only to assist. Elira nodded. We understand your perspective, Commander. Assistance is valuable when it respects freedom and choice. Xylar Prime is fully capable of advancing its technology, defending its systems, and ensuring the prosperity of its people. We do not require guidance to achieve these goals. The chamber fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Some Terran advisors exchanged subtle glances, noting the firmness of Xylar's stance. Herrick's mind was calculating, weighing options, considering the best way to respond without creating open conflict. Elira continued. We propose a path of mutual respect and trade, where technology and knowledge may be shared on equitable terms, but Xylar Prime will not compromise its sovereignty. We value diplomacy, but our independence is non-negotiable. Herrick's response was measured. We respect your decision, Counselor Elira. We will consider your position and respond accordingly. Our goal remains cooperation, and we hope that, in time, Xylar and Terrans can find ways to benefit one another. With that, the Terran delegation withdrew, leaving the council chamber filled with quiet reflection. Elira turned to the council members. The first step is complete. We have stated our position clearly. The next step is preparation. The Terrans are intelligent and patient. They may test us further. We must continue our work, strengthen our systems, and ensure that Xylar remains unified and resolute. The council members nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Some were still cautious, worried about the Terran reaction, while others were inspired, ready to contribute to the planet's continued strength and independence. That night, Elira and Kale returned to the balcony overlooking the city. Lights sparkled across the towers and plazas, a reflection of both progress and determination. The citizens moved through the streets with a sense of purpose, unaware of the deep calculations and strategies shaping their future. Elira spoke softly to Kale. The Terrans will watch, test, and observe. We must anticipate their moves, but we cannot let fear guide us. Our strength lies in knowledge, preparation, and unity. Xylar Prime will not bow to intimidation. Kale smiled. And with you leading the council, we will ensure that every decision is made with wisdom and foresight. The Terrans may be persistent, but they will find that Xylar cannot be controlled so easily. Elira looked out at the twin suns setting behind the mountains, casting long shadows across the city. This is only the beginning, she said. The path ahead will be challenging, but it is ours to shape. Xylar Prime will define its own destiny, and no outside force will dictate our future. As night fell, Elira returned to her chambers, knowing that the coming days would require vigilance, strategy, and courage. The Terrans were formidable, but Xylar Prime had something even stronger, a civilization united in purpose, intelligence, and pride. and in that quiet strength, Elira found hope. The next phase of negotiation and resistance would begin tomorrow, and Xylar would be ready. The following days on Xylar Prime were filled with a quiet tension that seemed to hum beneath the surface of everyday life. The council convened early each morning, deliberating and analyzing every possible outcome of their stance against the Terran proposal. Elira moved between meetings, laboratories, and observation platforms, ensuring that every strategy, every calculation, and every precaution was considered. The Terrans, however, were not idle. From their orbiting ships, they observed the planet's activity with meticulous attention. Commander Herrick remained composed, yet the subtle shifts in Xylar society did not escape his notice. There was coordination in every sector, innovation at every laboratory, and a visible sense of purpose that suggested Xylar was prepared to resist coercion if necessary. He frowned slightly, noting that their approach would require careful adaptation. Inside the council chamber, Elira presented her latest findings. "Council members," she began, "we have gathered more evidence regarding Terran methods. Our analysis shows that they are patient and calculated. They do not act immediately. Instead, they apply pressure subtly, observing reactions and exploiting weaknesses. Their goal is not only cooperation but influence. We must anticipate this and prepare accordingly." Councillor Mivar's metallic limbs gleamed as he leaned forward. "And what do you propose, Councillor Elira? How do we ensure that our independence is protected without provoking hostility?" Elira activated a holographic display showing energy grids, orbital defenses, and simulations of Terran maneuvers. "We strengthen our systems," she said. "We demonstrate our capability, not through aggression, but through innovation and preparation. We also make it clear that Xylar Prime values diplomacy and fair trade, yet we will not compromise our sovereignty. Strength and clarity will deter coercion." Kale stepped forward, adding, "Our simulations indicate that if the Terrans perceive hesitation or division, they will escalate subtle pressure. If, however, they see unity and preparedness, they are likely to respect our boundaries. This is not a matter of fear, but of strategic demonstration." The council members exchanged looks, weighing the implications. Some were visibly reassured by the displays, recognizing Xylar's readiness to defend itself and maintain autonomy. Others remained cautious, concerned about the potential repercussions of defying a species as powerful as the Terrans. Elira understood their apprehension. Humans were formidable and persistent, and their reaction to rejection was difficult to predict. Outside the chamber, the citizens of Xylar Prime went about their lives, unaware of the detailed calculations and strategies shaping their future. Scientists worked tirelessly on energy projects and defense enhancements. Engineers fine-tuned orbital platforms, and scholars documented the cultural and historical achievements of the planet. Every innovation sent a clear message. Xylar Prime was not a civilization to be easily influenced. That evening, Elira convened a private meeting with Kale and a small group of trusted advisors. The room was filled with the soft hum of holographic projections, showing simulations of Terran responses, potential strategies, and contingency plans. "We must be ready for any eventuality," Elira said. "The Terrans may attempt diplomacy, persuasion, or even subtle threats. Our response must be measured, firm, and unwavering." Kale nodded. "Our technology and strategy give us an advantage. Even if the Terrans attempt to manipulate trade agreements or public opinion, we have the capability to counteract these measures. We can maintain independence without conflict, provided we act with foresight and unity." Elira reviewed the simulations carefully. "Notice here," she said, pointing to a projection of Xylar Prime's orbital defenses, "the Terrans might attempt to demonstrate their military power. We have sufficient shielding and response systems to ensure that no action will threaten our cities. This demonstration of preparedness must be visible, yet not aggressive. Our message is simple. Xyler Prime is strong, capable, and united. The following day, the Council held another session with the Terran delegation. Commander Herrick entered with his usual calm demeanor, though a slight tension in his eyes betrayed his awareness that Xyler Prime was prepared. The Terran advisors carried new projections and simulations, displaying potential benefits of cooperation, including advanced energy technology, shared research, and defense strategies. Elira greeted them with measured politeness. Commander Herrick, representatives of the Terran delegation, we have reviewed your proposals thoroughly. We acknowledge the potential benefits of cooperation, but Xyler Prime cannot accept arrangements that compromise its independence. We value diplomacy and mutual benefit, yet our autonomy is paramount. Herrick's expression remained neutral. Counselor Elira, we understand your concerns. Cooperation does not require submission. Our goal is mutual advancement, not control. Elira responded firmly, true cooperation respects freedom. Xyler Prime is capable of its own advancement and can engage in trade and exchange on equitable terms. Any partnership must honor our sovereignty. We are not opposed to collaboration, but we will not compromise our independence. The Terran delegation paused, exchanging subtle glances. Herrick maintained his composure, though Elira detected the flicker of uncertainty. Xyler Prime's position was clear, and the display of technological readiness, combined with visible unity among council members, left little room for negotiation without mutual respect. After the session, Elira and Kale analyzed Terran communications that had been intercepted. They are testing reactions, Kale said. Each demonstration, each proposal is designed to gauge our response. They are seeking even the smallest sign of hesitation or division. Elira nodded. We must remain consistent. Our strategy is not aggression but clarity. If they see weakness, they will push further. If they see unity and preparedness, they are likely to respect boundaries. This is a calculated game of perception, and we must control it. In the following days, Xyler Prime citizens contributed to the demonstration of strength in subtle ways. Scholars presented new research on sustainable energy sources. Engineers enhanced orbital defense platforms, and artists created works that celebrated Xyler culture, history, and independence. The collective effort reinforced the message that Xyler Prime was united, capable, and proud of its autonomy. The Terrans, observing from orbit, took note. Commander Herrick convened a meeting with his advisors. Xyler Prime is more prepared than anticipated, he said. They are unified, technologically advanced, and aware of our methods. Any attempt to apply pressure may backfire. We must adapt our approach carefully, focusing on diplomacy rather than coercion. Back on the planet, Elira prepared a detailed report for the Council, outlining potential Terran responses and Xyler strategies. She included simulations of trade negotiations, cultural exchanges, and defensive scenarios. Every possibility was considered, ensuring that Xyler Prime could maintain sovereignty while engaging in beneficial partnerships without compromise. As the Council session resumed, Elira presented the report. Council members, we have analyzed every potential action and response from the Terrans. Our simulations show that our position is strong. Xyler Prime can engage in trade, research, and cultural exchange while maintaining complete independence. We must present a clear and unified stance in all interactions. This is the key to ensuring that our sovereignty remains intact. Councillor Tharan spoke, his voice steady. Councillor Elira, your analysis is thorough. We must ensure that every member of the Council understands the importance of unity. Any hint of division could be exploited by the Terrans. How do you propose we maintain this consistency? Elira replied. By establishing clear communication and shared goals. Every council member, advisor, and department must understand our priorities: independence, preparedness, and diplomacy. We demonstrate strength not through aggression, but through clarity and coordination. Our citizens and our systems are part of this demonstration. We must act as one. The council agreed. Plans were made to reinforce communication channels, strengthen technological systems, and ensure that all sectors of society understood the importance of maintaining independence. Xyler Prime would not be passive. It would actively demonstrate capability, unity, and resolve. Meanwhile, Terran attempts to influence through subtle pressure began. Herrick requested private discussions with select council members, offering enhanced technology or trade incentives in exchange for minor concessions. Some council members listened cautiously, but Elira monitored all interactions, ensuring that no commitment was made without full council approval. One evening, Elira and Kale reviewed intercepted communications. "They are testing loyalty and division," Kale said. "Every offer, every suggestion is a probe. They want to see who can be swayed and who resists." Elira's expression was calm but resolute. "Then we must resist, not out of defiance but out of principle. Xyler Prime is not for sale. Cooperation is welcome, but not at the cost of our freedom. Every action we take, every system we strengthen, every message we send must reinforce this truth." In the days that followed, the Terrans shifted their approach, focusing more on diplomacy and exchange rather than direct pressure. They engaged in discussions about research collaborations, cultural exchange programs, and technology sharing on equal terms. Their tone became more respectful, acknowledging that Xyler Prime was not easily intimidated. Elira observed these interactions with satisfaction. The Terrans were adapting, learning that Xyler's strength was not in weapons alone, but in unity, intelligence, and the willingness to protect freedom. The Council continued to monitor every interaction, ensuring that their position remained clear and consistent. By the end of the week, Xyler Prime had demonstrated its preparedness. Citizens, scientists, and council members alike contributed to a clear and visible message. Xyler was independent, capable, and united. The Terrans, recognizing this, adjusted their expectations, realizing that any attempt to coerce or manipulate would be met with careful resistance and strategic preparation. Elira stood on her balcony that night, looking over the glowing cities and advanced defense platforms. The twin suns had set, leaving a sky filled with stars. "Kale," she said softly, "Xyler Prime has shown strength, unity, and resolve. The Terrans are clever, but they have learned that independence cannot be easily taken." Kale nodded, his eyes reflecting the lights of the city below. "And with continued vigilance, we will maintain it. The Terrans may try to test us further, but Xyler Prime is ready for any challenge." Elira smiled faintly, feeling a sense of quiet pride. The path ahead was not simple, and the Terrans would continue to press for influence, but Xyler Prime had established a foundation of strength, unity, and independence. No external force could easily shake this resolve. As she turned to retire for the night, Elira reflected on the lessons of the past days. The Terrans were persistent, intelligent, and patient, but Xyler's greatest power lay within its people, their unity, creativity, and determination. That strength would guide them through any negotiation, challenge, or test in the days to come. The weeks following the Council's decision passed with a calm determination that swept across Xyler Prime. Citizens went about their daily lives, yet beneath the surface, the planet was alive with quiet activity. Laboratories hummed with energy, orbital platforms glowed as engineers fine-tuned their systems, and communication networks transmitted data streams faster and more efficiently than ever before. Every corner of Xyler Prime was a testament to its people's unity, intelligence, and pride. Elira walked through the central plaza, observing the citizens as they moved with purpose. Children studied holographic simulations of energy systems. Engineers discussed the efficiency of orbital defenses, and scholars presented new innovations in sustainable energy and transportation. Even artists contributed, painting murals that celebrated Xylar culture and history. Each act, no matter how small, reinforced the message. Xylar Prime was united, capable, and independent. Kale followed closely, carrying a data pad filled with the latest analysis of Terran activity. "They have not responded with aggression," he said quietly. "Their communications indicate that they understand our position. They are adapting their strategy, focusing on diplomacy and equal exchange rather than pressure." Elira nodded. "Good. It is a sign that our approach is working. We have shown strength, clarity, and unity. The Terrans are learning that Xylar Prime is not a civilization to be manipulated or coerced." The council convened again in the chamber, this time to review the long-term strategy for dealing with Terran engagement. Elira addressed the assembled members, her voice calm but firm. "Council members, the Terrans have received our message. They are adapting their approach, focusing on collaboration rather than coercion. This is an opportunity to define the terms of our engagement on our own conditions." Councillor Mivar's metallic limbs reflected the soft glow of the chamber. "And what terms should we establish, Councillor Elira? How do we ensure that our independence remains intact while engaging in beneficial exchanges?" Elira gestured to the holographic display, which showed trade routes, research projects, and cultural exchange programs. "We offer cooperation where it benefits both parties, but on equitable terms. Every agreement must respect our autonomy, and every project must be monitored to ensure that Xylar Prime retains control over its systems, resources, and decisions. We engage not out of necessity, but out of choice." Tharin nodded thoughtfully. "And if the Terrans attempt to pressure us further or push for concessions?" "Then we remain firm," Elira replied. "Xylar Prime does not yield to coercion. Our defenses, both technological and social, are prepared, but diplomacy must be our first tool, not force. Strength is demonstrated not only through power, but through the clarity of purpose and unity of action." The council agreed on a comprehensive plan. Trade agreements would be carefully negotiated, research collaborations would be monitored, and cultural exchanges would emphasize mutual respect. Every citizen, scientist, and engineer understood the importance of maintaining autonomy while benefiting from interstellar relationships. As the council concluded, Elira and Kale visited one of Xylar Prime's orbital observation platforms. The view of the Terran fleet, stationed quietly in orbit, was a reminder of the persistent intelligence and presence of humanity. Herrick's ships were well-designed, sleek, and imposing, yet they remained a respectful distance away. Their behavior reflected an understanding that Xylar Prime was neither intimidated nor uninformed. Kale adjusted a projection showing the energy and defense capabilities of Xylar Prime. "They may have underestimated us initially," he said. "But now they know that any attempt to manipulate or dominate would be futile. They will respect our boundaries." Elira's gaze remained fixed on the distant Terran fleet. "Respect is earned, Kale, and Xylar Prime has demonstrated its value, not through threats, but through preparation, unity, and clarity. They now see that our civilization cannot be controlled, only engaged with on equal terms." Over the following days, the Terrans initiated formal discussions with Xylar Prime's representatives. Commander Herrick addressed the council, his tone measured and respectful. "Councillor Elira, members of the Xylar Council, we recognize your position. Our previous proposal assumed cooperation could take many forms, but we now understand that Xylar Prime engages on its own terms. We wish to establish agreements that are fair, mutually beneficial, and respectful of your autonomy." Elira responded calmly, her words precise and firm. "Commander Herrick, Xyler Prime welcomes collaboration where it respects sovereignty and equality. We will engage in trade, scientific exchange, and cultural interaction, but our independence is non-negotiable. Any agreement must reflect mutual benefit without compromising the decisions, resources, or systems of our civilization. The discussions continued for several days, each session reinforcing the principle of mutual respect. The Terrans, impressed by Xyler Prime's preparedness and unity, adjusted their expectations and proposals. They focused on equitable trade, scientific collaboration, and cultural understanding rather than influence or control. Throughout this period, Elira and Kale coordinated with engineers, scientists, and strategists to ensure that Xyler Prime systems remained secure, efficient, and adaptable. Energy grids were optimized, defense platforms tested, and communication networks strengthened. Every sector contributed to the demonstration of capability and unity. Meanwhile, citizens of Xyler Prime witnessed the subtle yet powerful message of independence. Schools integrated lessons about history, technology, and diplomacy, emphasizing the importance of unity and vigilance. Artists continued to produce works celebrating culture and resilience, reinforcing a collective sense of pride. Every individual, knowingly or not, played a part in maintaining the strength of the planet. One afternoon, Elira received a communication from Herrick. The message was formal but courteous. He acknowledged Xyler Prime's sovereignty and expressed a desire to maintain peaceful and equitable relations. Elira read the message carefully, then smiled. It was a confirmation that their efforts had succeeded. The Terrans had adapted, recognizing that coercion was ineffective against a united and capable civilization. She shared the message with the council. "This is a milestone," she said. Xyler Prime has not only maintained its independence, but we have also established the framework for collaboration that respects our principles. The Terrans understand that cooperation must be founded on equality, not control. Councillor Tharen's scales shimmered with approval. "It is a testament to our people, Councillor Elira. The citizens, scientists, engineers, and artists all have contributed to this success. Independence is not merely the responsibility of the Council, it is a shared effort." Elira nodded. "And it will continue to be. We must remain vigilant, maintain unity, and ensure that every agreement, every interaction, reflects our values. The foundation has been laid, but the work of sustaining independence and prosperity is ongoing." In the weeks that followed, Xyler Prime flourished. Trade with other civilizations expanded, scientific research accelerated, and cultural exchanges enriched the society. The Terrans, adapting to the framework established by Xyler Prime, contributed knowledge and resources on terms that were equitable and respectful. The planet thrived without compromising its autonomy. Elira took time to visit laboratories and research centers, observing projects that advanced energy efficiency, defense technologies, and interstellar travel. She spoke with young engineers, scientists, and scholars, encouraging innovation and reinforcing the importance of unity and responsibility. Each individual she met embodied the spirit of Xyler Prime, a civilization capable of shaping its own destiny. One evening, Elira and Kale stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing city. The twin suns had set, leaving a sky filled with distant stars and planets. The energy of the city below reflected both progress and purpose, a testament to the people's dedication to their civilization. "Kale," Elira said softly, "look at what we have achieved. The Terrans are intelligent and persistent, but they have learned that Xyler Prime cannot be swayed against its principles. Our independence is secure, and our civilization continues to grow and thrive." Kale smiled. "It is a victory, not of force, but of unity, intelligence, and determination. Xyler Prime has shown that autonomy and collaboration can coexist when guided by clear principles and shared purpose." Elira nodded, feeling a sense of quiet pride. We have set a precedent. The future of Xylar Prime is in the hands of its people, guided by wisdom, unity, and resolve. We have proven that a civilization does not need to submit to external pressures to prosper. Strength, clarity, and collective purpose are enough to shape our destiny. As they stood together, watching the lights of the city and the distant stars, Elira reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The Terran proposal had been ambitious, testing the limits of diplomacy, patience, and resilience. But Xylar Prime had responded with strategy, preparation, and unity. The civilization had maintained its independence while opening avenues for equitable collaboration, proving that strength and integrity could coexist. In the council chambers, Elira documented the events, decisions, and strategies that had ensured Xylar Prime's success. These records would serve as a guide for future generations, a testament to the power of unity, intelligence, and unwavering commitment to autonomy. Every detail, every simulation, every lesson was preserved for the future. The Terrans, observing from orbit, recognized the limits of their influence and adapted accordingly. Herrick's final communication expressed respect for Xylar Prime's independence and a commitment to collaboration on equal terms. It was a diplomatic acknowledgement of the planet's strength, intelligence, and capability. As the story of Xylar Prime's refusal of the Terran proposal came to a close, Elira stood on the balcony one final time, gazing at the twin moons and the vast expanse of stars beyond. The civilization below thrived, secure in its autonomy, confident in its unity, and proud of its achievements. Xylar Prime will continue to grow, Elira said softly, guided by its people, its wisdom, and its principles. We have proven that independence is not a dream but a reality, and that reality will shape our future strong, free, and united. Kale stood beside her, his eyes reflecting the glow of the city. The Terrans have learned a valuable lesson, he said. Xylar Prime is a civilization that cannot be controlled. Collaboration is welcome, but only on equal terms. That is a powerful message. Elira smiled faintly. It is a message that will endure. Xylar Prime has charted its own path, defended its autonomy, and demonstrated that strength lies not only in technology or power, but in unity, intelligence, and purpose. The future belongs to those who shape it with wisdom and courage, and Xylar Prime has proven it is ready for anything. As night settled over the planet, Elira and Kale returned to the council chambers, confident in the knowledge that Xylar Prime's independence was secure. The Terrans remained allies and trading partners, but the planet had shown that no species, no matter how ambitious, could dictate the course of a civilization that valued its freedom. And so Xylar Prime entered a new era, an era of growth, innovation, and prosperity, guided by the principles of unity, intelligence, and unwavering pride. The story of their refusal to compromise their sovereignty became a defining moment, a lesson in courage and wisdom for generations to come. In the quiet of the night, the twin moons cast their soft glow over the city. The citizens of Xylar Prime slept peacefully, unaware of the battles of strategy, diplomacy, and intelligence that had secured their freedom. Elira gazed at the stars, knowing that the planet she loved was strong, independent, and ready to face any challenge the universe might bring. Xylar Prime had refused the Terran proposal. It had chosen its own destiny. And in that choice lay the strength of a civilization united, resilient, and proud, a civilization that would shape its future on its own terms.